Hi everyone, it's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a little chit chat video about the upcoming 24A pre-fall Métier d'Art Chanel runway show that's going to happen this week, December 7th in Manchester. So it's kind of like a two-part video. One, I'm like really excited about this runway show. Métier d'Art is a really beautiful show where they showcase all of the different ateliers and other businesses that Chanel works with to create, like craft their creations. And it's in Manchester, which I think is kind of represents a really big switch up from what we've been seeing with like the Barbie Chanel from the cruise show. And then I also just wanted to chat through, okay, how I kind of look at and think about the runway shows after they come out to figure out what I might want to add to my wardrobe. So the way that I shop for ready to wear, it's not like shopping at Abercrombie. I'm really trying to be precise and specific with adding things to my collection that will last a really long time. Okay, and so without further ado, let's get into it. I think I already kind of said a lot, besides the fact that I am totally butchering saying métier d'art. Terrible non-existent French accent, but it's kind of like the different métiers, like the different artisans, arts, right? And so they're showing their different arts. They have, you know, the different ateliers that make tweed, that do the different sequin embroideries. And so this collection's really well known for being very expensive. It is not like the couture collections, which are like 100% hand done, like not mass produced, but it's kind of like in between. It's almost like half and half. So last year, the 23A collection was in Senegal, and that collection was also kind of a departure from a few of the things that we had been seeing with Virginie Viard's different style choices. I feel like it was very safe collections up until that point, and then it was like it very much had her specific flavor on it. It was like a little bit more bohemian, a little bit more artsy, total departure from anything that you would ever see Karl Lagerfeld do, and it felt very specific to her. Right? And so that was A, and then, you know, like with B, it's a commercial collection. It felt like very true to Chanel once again, like very classic, which she can do. The Barbie collection was like super playful. It was almost an ode to Karl in itself, you know? And then we just saw the spring summer collection runway, which kind of was like a mix of like the art and the classic, but you know, you have some of these characteristics that are very Virginie. Like I feel like the flip-flops on the runway that were so controversial that made everyone so mad, like that is her. Like if it's a bib, if it's a pantaloon, if it's a flip-flop, if it's comfortable, if it's like for the person wearing it, that is like just so specific to her DNA. There's lots of Chanel DNA and Karl DNA in there too, but that's kind of where you see her come through. Now, thinking about Manchester and the location in Manchester that this runway is going to take place, it's kind of like a grittier, punkier, edgier, like there's music scene, there's artists, like it's not Paris. It's not like, I don't know, when they did cruise this last year, like, you know, with the, oh my gosh, the Formula One, like kind of racing, like super fancy stuff. No, this is not that. This is like gritty, and it's actually kind of, you know, more controversial. The people in the town are like not necessarily happy that Chanel's in there taking over. Some people are, some people aren't. There's like a lot of like conflict and tension there, and I just think that that's kind of representative of the city. Like it's a city known for sports, for music, for art. And then when we saw the preview, the little orange thing that came up on the screen, let me zoom into this. Here, I'll show you. Here, you can see, okay, so this is very industrial, kind of like 80s artwork with like TV sets, and it's giving very like, giving MTV kind of vibes. And then we have, all right, the suffragettes, I believe. So this is Votes for Women, which I can't think anything more punk than that. But then there's like, it seems like, it almost seems like tickets or like travel tickets. There's these people, I think this is turning. I think this is like a rave. Looks like a dance rave. Dance rave. Like, Maddie, could you be any more? but like very industrial. It's also like Manchester is like known for gloomy weather. I've never been there, but this is like straight off the wiki page. But like these are like people standing on a bridge. It is kind of giving this counterculture sort of vibe, which is so different from Chanel Barbie. This is going to be like Chanel Punk. So I'm really excited for it. I just know it's going to be ludicrously expensive. Like already Chanel's very, very crazy expensive, but once you have this like hand beating and all this stuff kind of going into it, it becomes all that more crazy. So the way that I am going to kind of like, the way that I approach these shows is I wake up in the morning, super groggy, first thing, phone in my face, and I watch the runway show. Okay, as I'm watching the runway show, anything that I see that I'm like, hey, what's that? I take a screenshot, all right? And so I'm like going through, watching. My husband's like, what are you doing? Can I get a coffee? And I'm like, shh, taking screenshots. All right, I'm on the West Coast. It like normally posts at, I think like 4 a.m. or something my time. I missed that. I get it at 5:30 or whenever I wake up. So I take the screenshots kind of going through. Then it does take a while, maybe like 12, sometimes 6 to 24 hours for the pictures to start appearing on the Chanel website. I also subscribe to Vogue.com to see the runway photos that they produce, which actually the Vogue.com photos are a lot crisper, so you can zoom in better. When those post, then I'm zooming in on everything, because you look at these looks, they are very detailed. So for example, I'll go back to the 23A collection from, right, this year, 23. You know, here is a look that I really liked. This was like the leopard sweater. I got a version of this sweater, but you zoom in on this sweater, you see there's sequins on this. And then in this case, those sequins were hand sewn. And so this version of this sweater was something like, I don't know, $12,000. The version that I got without the sequins was closer to like 4. And so those things kind of exist. You have to talk to your SA about it, but you have to zoom in and kind of look, and then you're like, okay, look at all the colors, like look at all the necklaces. She's wearing like 20 necklaces. It is kind of hard to sort of pick these apart. You like zoom in, like this is the only photo you have of that bag for a long time. So doing it on the Vogue website, I've found works out really well because they are higher quality. Here's like another example where, you know, this look where I got the jacket, the shirt underneath, it's like, oh, that's a see-through kind of, I'm sorry, my apologies to this model for that zoom, but you're like, oh, that shirt's really sheer. Is that something that's gonna work for me? I don't know. And so kind of going through all of that. Vogue will sometimes come out with detail photos. It will take Chanel.com time to go through the detail photos too. So also searching the hashtag on Instagram. And so in this case, you would search Chanel 24A and just seeing anyone who's actually at the runway show, what photos they're posting can be another way to kind of cheat the system. In addition to them being at the runway show, they often sometimes do, or what they did in LA, was they had previews. And so people took photos at the previews, which is a lot easier because one, the runway lighting is crazy. It is very bright and it can be hard to see. So as another example, this jacket that I ordered from Kay on the runway, I was like, I can't tell, is that black and white or is that black and pink? It's like, because the lights were so bright, it is very pink in person. In person, it's unmistakably a black and pink jacket, but in these runway photos, it's very muted. It's hard to tell. So you have to kind of do the investigative work, and then you also have to kind of look for cues. I mean, you don't. What I do my investigative work and I look for cues for what would be kind of in my price range. Now, Chanel jackets, like they can be anywhere from a few $1,000s to multiple of tens of thousands of dollars. And I have my range at the lower end of the spectrum where I would not spend, you know, $30,000, $20,000 on one item of clothing. Like that's not me. That's not where I am. I wouldn't feel comfortable wearing that. And so I'm kind of like looking through to see, like, based on the screenshots, one, what do I like? Okay, obviously everything, but what really spoke to me and what kind of like fit into my wardrobe. Then two, what would kind of be in my price range? And in some instances, it's worth asking about because there is like a commercial version that doesn't have all the hand sewn sequins or something. Like there's a version of the sweater that is without like the detail handmade embellishments that could be for me. And then in other cases, like they could trick you because it's like, oh, that's not hand sewn. That's just like a little trim. And so it's not as much as you might think it is. But with 23A, you have to be really careful because, you know, the other thing you can do is look at the different ateliers, Instagrams, and if like Montex worked on it, it is too expensive. You know, if, you know, certain tweeds, hand done, very expensive. So that is kind of how I go through it, how I think about it. And I will come back hopefully on Friday with a video reviewing the collection. If I can get good pictures, maybe we'll just do a once over if they like post them to the Chanel website or Vogue website in time. And otherwise, I'm just really excited. Okay, let me know what you think this collection will be like down below. I'm like thinking through like next, you know, this year and next fall and like what will be on her mind. Like, I think it is going to be kind of grittier. Like recently she's been like very much leaning into like the feminine aspects of like the Chanel code, but there's also like a very strong like menswear, masculine, you know, edgy aspect to the house. When you think about you know, Chanel Gabrielle totally revolutionizing women's handbags to have a strap. You know, like you used to have to carry this thing, but she's like, oh no, we're gonna have a strap. Like this was like revolutionary. So, and they have the suffragettes on the card. So it is kind of gonna be this like revolution, historical, like outcast type figures. It'll be really interesting, like especially as it coincides with Barbie. If you haven't been, I don't know if the Karl Lagerfeld presentation at the Met is still there, but if you haven't been, you have to go. Every aspect of the, what am I trying to say? The display. What is it when it's like at the museum? Oh my gosh, what is blank? Anyway, every aspect of the curation was like showing like the duality of two sides, like masculine, feminine, structured, flowy. There were like many different parts of that. And this was Karl, which isn't just Chanel, you know, it included other, like, you know, included designs from his time at Chloe and other fashion houses, but is very much in the code of Chanel as well. And you could just like see the two sides, and they had the clothing on like models that represented, and then there was one in the middle that kind of blended it. So in terms of just thinking through what it could be, I think it's going to be more masculine. That's all. Okay, if that made sense. You guys should really check out the Met thing. I have this, it was called A Line of Beauty, which was the exhibit. That's the word I was looking for, the exhibit at the Met. My husband actually got me the book on the exhibit. I could maybe share that with you guys and talk through the different things. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, I know it's like the nerdier side. People love unboxings. People love, you know, seeing all of the goodies that I bring home. But really, I am very passionate about the art and the design and the brand and all of those aspects. And so that's why I get so excited around the runway. Even if I don't know if there's anything that I'm gonna want or be able to afford, I just think it's really cool art. So hopefully you do too. Okay, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm really excited for this one. I hope you're all having a great day. Give this video a thumbs up if you like these kind of nerdy fashion videos, and otherwise I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.